Greetings YouTube, Sega Zombie here and welcome to another Sega Wall lockdown isolation special, guys. I thought I'd do things a bit different today, and a lot of people have been asking over the last few weeks because I've mentioned in my videos my massive passion for films, and I absolutely love my horror films. I'm going to put a little bit of a reel in now showing you the state of my DVD collection. In storage, all these boxes here are just full of all my DVDs. Yeah, as you can see, guys, my DVD collection, I have actually been selling some of that off, and I've just got plastic crates and crates and crates of DVDs. But what I have done is incorporated my Blu-rays into my collection, because I really do enjoy the Blu-rays. I know you've got 4K and all of that, but I'm so behind on everything, you know. Blu-rays, yes, I've been collecting them for a number of years, but it's only been seriously picking up. I tend to find it's very similar with what you do with games, and more so with films, because they're a lot cheaper. You end up buying all these films, and they're not necessarily films you'll watch over and over again. Now, you'll see in the collection here that I have a number of films that I wouldn't necessarily watch again, but a lot of them are gifts and what people have bought me for birthdays, Christmases, that sort of thing. And it's a right mixed bag, but my favourite genre above everything else is horror. And some of the sub-genres as well, like revenge films. Absolutely love revenge films and horror films. And one of my favourite directors is Dario Argento, and I really do love the Italian horror of the 80s, 70s, 80s, 80s horror, probably the pinnacle for me. And, you know, it touches on so much. I went into business with one of my good friends many years ago when I was doing the markets, and I was doing my second-hand games market stall, and me and him opened a shop in our local town called Video Heaven, and I had a space in that shop, and it was amazing because I had my passion for my games, so I was selling my games at the time. And it was a shop full of awesome films, you know, videos mainly, because it was in the early sort of years of the DVD. We did have DVDs, but it was mainly obscure and hard to get VHS videos. And, you know, there were so many films. There's so many films that never made it onto DVD that were on VHS, and it's the same with Blu-ray. You know, there's now a lot of films on DVD and VHS that haven't made it yet to Blu-ray. It's getting there. There's a lot of companies like Arrow Video, 88 Films, Eureka, you know, these kind of companies have real targeted the B-movie horror films and that sort of thing. And sort of like some of the grindhouse stuff, the Italian horror, Spanish horror, and it's really great, you know. And I thought I'd do this video just to show something different, a different interest of mine, and it ties in with my name, Sega Zombie, because I absolutely love zombie films. They're some of my favourite horrors, but I love giallos, and that's why I've got a massive fondness for Dario Argento's films in Italian horror, Lucio Fulci, Lamberto Bava, you know, we can reel them all off, Deodato. There's so many awesome directors, and there's still so many films to get on Blu-ray, which I've got on DVD. And I'm going to start with some real... I didn't know how to do this because people are saying I'd love to hear your top 10, Scott, of horror films and things like that. But as I do with my games, maybe I should focus, and I think I'm going to for this video, on some of the most nostalgic films. Some of the films that have, you know, they might not be the best films in the world, but they hold that massive nostalgic place in my heart. Because back then, you know, we rented films, and back in the 80s, didn't matter what the certification was. Yeah, you had the video nasty thing all them years ago and everything being banned and cut. But when I grew up, you could go and rent a film and you never got questioned. You know, I don't know, it's just a different way of life back then. And I can remember getting some pretty nasty films for the time, renting them out. And me and my mates couldn't wait to get them on the Betamax, which some of us had, or the VHS. And, you know, some of these films, it's the memories that stand out. And one of those films, guys, is this one. Scarecrows. A brilliant film. Not a very long film. It runs just over sort of like the hour mark, I believe. I'm just seeing if there's a run time on here. 83 minutes, so an hour and 20 minutes. Fantastic film. I did get this on DVD and the print was god awful. It had been cropped and God knows what. But this, as far as I can tell, is the most complete version. A really nice print by 88 Films. I do like these red cases. I don't know what it is, but I like the slim case. Embracing the Darkness, an interview with Peter Deming. So it's got a little leaflet in there. And I can remember going to, it was an independent rental shop, a local shop that sold a bit of everything, but they also had rented videos, as it was back in the day. A local convenience shop, just hiring out films. And this film I hired out so many times. Some great scenes, a very dark film. So I think that's how they managed to sort of like not give away the special effects so much, because it is a very dark film. But I love the setting. Highly recommend it if you've never seen it before. Like I said, it's a short enough film. And it doesn't really explain anything, and I kind of like that. But yeah, a great film of Scarecrows. Trespassers will be violated. And I can remember when this certain shop sold up all their rental videos. They were clearing out that part of the shop. And I purchased Scarecrows off them, the ex-rental. And I remember I still had the card. And there was a little card, a bit like a library card, that they used to write your name on. And that was just full of my name and address on that video card. And do you know what? It's one of my biggest regrets was selling my VHS. Well, not so much for selling the VHS collection, but that one in particular film, because there was a lot of memories with that film and that card. But unfortunately, over the years, I sold it. The card went missing, which is a real shame, but I really like Scarecrows, guys. It's a quality one. Again, pretty much when it come out new, and that is Nightbreed. And what I really liked about Nightbreed is everyone was bang on to Clive Barker. They loved his books. They loved the graphic novels, the books of blood and things like that. And the Hellraiser films, Candyman. But Nightbreed, Cabal the book, is absolutely amazing book. And I really enjoyed the film. And what I really liked about this is I remember for years, Clive Barker kind of fell out with Hollywood and the big movie studios, because they didn't like his concept of this film. They loved the fact that he took a low budget film like Hellraiser and made it a big hit for the time, and they wanted the same again. But I know when the producers watched this film and what he wanted it to be, they didn't like it. They didn't like the fact that monsters were the good guys kind of thing, and they done massive edits to this film. And it's great to see in recent times that it's been restored somewhat back to what Clive Barker was trying to do with this film. And I really enjoy Nightbreed. It's one of my favourites. And again, the nostalgia. Me and my mates played this a lot. And I can remember so looking forward to the Amiga game of this and being so disappointed. I don't know what I was expecting of it. It's a very hard film, I suppose, to put into a game. But I can remember being gutted that this game weren't great. And I love some of the monsters in this. You know, they're so good. A brilliant idea. Yeah, love it. Absolutely brilliant film. And then we're going to move on to a film which I watched when I was a child. Now, my parents, or my mum in particular, when we got our VHS, used to be a lot of like Hammer, House of Horror, Amicus, them sort of films used to come on in late at night, and my mum would tape them. And I can remember crazing her to watch them on video the next day. And one of those films that I remember really fondly is Horror Express. A great film. It's kind of, I don't think it is a Hammer film as such, but it's like a joint British-Spanish production. It's got legends in it, Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing, and it's also got Telly Savalas towards the end. A great film. Really, really does stand up today as well. I watched this recently and thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah, a great movie, and it brings back lots of memories of fast forwarding between the adverts to get back to the movie as we did back then. And yeah, an awesome film. And that moves us on to another rental film that I just was obsessed with. This film. It had sequels, which I don't remember them as fondly. I would love to get those as well. This is a recent purchase from Arrow, and that is Maniac Cop. Now, I've had this on DVD. I think I had the sequels on DVD as well, but I'd love to get them all on Blu-ray. And Maniac Cop, I do love William Lustig's sort of like the director. I do like his direction style. He's done some great films. But Maniac Cop is one of my favourites of his. I just love the whole revenge thing. It's the killer, the Maniac Cop. He's getting his revenge on his misjustice, and I love that. I love that concept, and then to create a horror film out of that, because William Lustig did like his revenge films, and it really worked for the time. Being a B movie, and it's got Bruce Campbell in it. From Evil Dead, and it's a great film, guys. If you've not seen it, I'm sure you all have seen it, but it's a great 80s classic, and again, one I used to rent all the time. And then we're going to move on to a film that really did strike something in me, and it was the first sort of like giallo that I properly watched. Now, this is a Dario Argento film, and the first film I'd seen of his was Suspiria. And I can remember everyone saying that Suspiria is an amazing film, which I have got up here, and it is an amazing film. But I had watched the VHS version of this movie, and it had been heavily cut. The atmosphere of this film, the colours, the cinematography is absolutely amazing in this film. The use of primary colours. An excellent film. The photography, everything in it is brilliant. But the cut that was on VHS just made no sense. And I can remember watching this film thinking, what on earth is this film about? And it weren't until years later, when it was released on DVD and more complete versions of the film were coming back. It weren't until then, really, that I'd appreciated this film, and I went back to it after this movie, and that is Dario Argento's Opera. Now, this film absolutely blew me away, and I know for the Argento fans this isn't classed as anywhere near his best film. You know, sort of like the black leather gloved killer giallos, but to me, I love this film. It really did capture me. I love the environments. I love the settings. I love the kooky acting as well. And this is a beautiful set, guys. Really worth getting. Released by Cult Films. It's had a number of releases over the years. I do know Arrow had it. as well. They released this, I think it was on DVD a few years back now. But an absolutely fantastic film. It was, I believe it was 1987. Glorious cinematography again. I love the effects in this film. It captures terror really well, I think, as well. And the whole concept of her having to watch the killer. I really like that. And yeah, a fantastic movie. And it was this movie that sparked my interest back in 1980, back in the late 80s, that sparked my interest and got me back into Italian horror. And Dario Argento, an absolutely fantastic movie, guys. And then that leads us on to my steel books, which I'll show. I've only got a couple of those. And that leads us nicely to today's shout out, guys. And I would love to give Gashead Steve a massive shout out.
What's up, guys? Gashead Steve here, and this is the unboxing of everybody's favourite slasher film,
Michael?
Okay, alright, fair enough. What's up, guys? Gashead Steve here, and this is the unboxing of everybody's favourite slasher film. Okay, give you that one. What's up, guys? This is the unboxing of everybody's favourite slasher film. What's up, guys? This is the unboxing of Nightmare on Elm Street. Zavi exclusive. Still
really love his content. He used to be heavily into game collecting, but he's more into his toys, his NECA figures and stuff like that. And he loves his Star Wars reissued figures. And he loves his films. And I know he's got a lovely collection of films. He collects VHS and his 4K steel books. Well, these are my steel books. I showed Demons off. An absolutely glorious steel book, that. So it's got Demons and Demons 2 in there. A lovely set, that. And Demons, again, a film that I can remember my parents renting this film out back in the day. And then just, I don't know, like back then, you know, we think bad of it now, but my parents let us sit and watch it with them. And they were laughing through it. And I just was absolutely captivated by this movie. I thought it was absolutely amazing. Again, it's got to be around about the mid 80s, I'd say 85, and done by Lamberto Bava, the son of Mario Bava, and was overseen, sort of produced by Dario Argento, and it's an absolutely quality film. I really enjoyed the second one too. A great set, that. And then we've got to include a zombie film, haven't we? And unfortunately, my favourite zombie film of all time, can you believe it? I don't own it anymore. I've sold all the DVD sets I had of it, and the original Arrow Blu-ray set. I had all of the ones in the cardboard sleeves when Blu-rays were new, and I sold all those because they were going for mega money, and I thought, I'm going to sell them, they're going to get reissued, I'll rebuy them. And the one film that I haven't got back into the collection is Dawn of the Dead, and the original Dawn of the Dead, George A. Romero. What an absolute masterpiece that film was. You know, he got there sort of with Night of the Living Dead. It was never my favourite, that one. It was good. But Dawn of the Dead, absolutely fantastic film. One of my favourite films of all time. And I know there's a new set coming out where you can get the Blu-ray set. It's a big box set with about 10 different discs in it. Every version of the film. Because that's the thing with Dawn of the Dead. It had different releases. It had an American release, Italian, Europe releases. And there was an Argento cut. There's a director's cut. You know, it's a fantastic film. And those of you that are into your horror and zombie films will know how great that film is. So unfortunately I can't show that off, guys, because I haven't got it yet. I think I might go and purchase that box set, because, you know, when it's a film that big, that's made that bigger impact, I suppose I'm a sucker and I've got to have it. But another film that had that impact is Zombie Flesh Eaters. And my memories of Zombie Flesh Eaters is, I can remember a mate when we was at school saying, you've got to come round my house, I've got this copy of this, we called sort of like these dodgy copies of films, like snuff films. It's like, yeah, I've got this dodgy snuff gore film called Zombie Flesh Eaters, and the name Zombie Flesh Eaters just blew my mind. I was like, oh my God, I've got to see this film. And I can remember the picture quality being absolutely terrible. If you can remember back then, bootleg VHS films weren't great, guys. And I could just remember how grainy it was and a terrible picture, but I was amazed by this film. Again, it was heavily cut in the UK for a long time. But this is a glorious set, guys. And you know, I love Zombie Flesh Eaters that much. I actually have tattoos dedicated to Zombie Flesh Eaters, and an absolutely glorious steel book that is. I absolutely love that. But yeah, I do like Lucio Fulci. I enjoy his films. I think there's a lot more to his films that people give credit for, and he's credited for the sort of like the more of the gore fest sort of Italian horror genre, but that man done so many films, and really the horror films he done was just a very small portion of all the films he done. He done some great spaghetti westerns, thrillers. Yeah, he done some great giallos as well. But yeah, Zombie Flesh Eaters, what a film. What a film. And there's, just going through these with you guys now, there's so many I've got to add. The Beyond, House by the Cemetery, I've still got to get those on Blu-ray. Another absolute classic, and a film that, there's a scene in this film that absolutely petrified me and my mate when this film come out. And going back now, yeah, it's not aged well. I like the remake a lot, actually. I thought that was really good. I was not expecting anything of the remake, but I was pleasantly surprised. And that is The Woman in Black, and this is the original TV series. This was on pre-order. This comes sort of like in the summer after being delayed. But yeah, The Woman in Black, Susan Hill, screenplay, an absolutely fantastic film for the time. It's not aged as well. It's a TV movie. This is the limited edition set, comes with a book there and a god awful, not a very well printed book there by Network, all bleeded, and it looks really sort of unprofessional, really. It doesn't look great. But yeah, that's included in there. And it's just a shame it doesn't fit in the case, or you would have thought at least they would have made the slip card a little bit bigger so you could fit it in there, but it doesn't. But yeah, The Woman in Black, there's one scene in that scared the living crap out of me, and I don't know why. It just did. It's weird back then. You know, you watch all the gore and the stuff like that, and it's kind of mindless, but it's some of the little intricate scenes and details that get you. And it's the bit when she hovers above his bed towards the end of the movie, and I can remember getting goosebumps at that point of the film. But yeah, a brilliant film, that, The Woman in Black, an awesome story. So I've got to include that. And again, I can remember having the video of that. I bought it from a rental shop, and I remember buying the X-Rental, and me and my mate would watch that a lot, that film. And then finally, guys, a film that I've only recently purchased from HMV, because they were doing a deal on 2 for $15, and I see this in there, and I didn't realise it was released on 88 Films, and I had to get it. I paid a lot of money for this film to get it uncut on DVD all those years ago. I can remember, again, this was a film that was very heavily cut on video, and I can remember absolutely loving this film, but not many people had heard of it. And I can remember describing it to people years later, and people thought, well, I don't know what you're on about. And that is Intruder. and it's set basically in a supermarket. And yeah, there's a killer, and you kind of like got to guess who the killer is. An absolutely brilliant splatter movie. Yeah, but basically it's a night crew in a supermarket. There's an intruder, and yeah, people are dying in the most horrific ways. I really like the mix of horror, comedy, black comedy. It gets it right. Not many films do nowadays, or did back then, but the 80s seems to be the time when horror and black comedy and humour mixed, and they got it just right. And the Intruder is one of those films, and I don't think it gets the praise that it should, because it actually is a really good film. And there's some great actors in this film as well. And again, you've got Ash, Bruce Campbell, Evil Dead. It's the one that I can remember saying, oh, I watched this film and it's set in a supermarket and there's this killer and blah blah, and everyone was like, no, I've never heard of it. And you know, it weren't until years and years later that you know, when it come available on DVD, and I think I had to get like an import, like a European import of it to get it uncut. And I remember it costing me a bloody fortune on DVD. I think I've still got it. I think it's called Night of the Intruder. It's released on the Dragon label, if you remember that. But yeah, that I think I've still got that in the boxes, guys. But an absolutely fantastic film. I love that cover. That's an awesome cover, that. So there you go, guys. What I'll do is I'll do a little zoom in so we can see the Blu-rays building. You know, it's a modest collection so far, because I'm looking to replace the DVDs and go solely for Blu-ray, and maybe some 4K as well. Just highlight this I picked up from HMV, guys. If you've not grabbed this, grab it. It's 20 quid in HMV. It's going for stupid money online. But yeah, it's the ultimate collector's edition of RoboCop, one of my favourite films of all time. The gore in it is as gory as a horror film. Absolutely love this film, one of my favourites. It's got tons of content on it, guys, so you know, that's still sealed. I've only just picked that up from HMV. That's a recent pickup, that one. And I went into HMV the other day, so it is still in there for 20 quid, guys. So if you can, grab it if you love RoboCop. It's the ultimate edition, with extra scenes and all that added into it and all that jazz. So there we go, guys. Like I said, I'll zoom in so you can like get a little bit of a feel of what I've got. But yeah, stay safe, guys. Keep well. And I'll see you in the next one, guys.